Hey, what's going on, my friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 3 things about tonight's new moon I think you should know. I didn't plan on filming a video today because I've been busy. However, I do feel I want to share these few things with you because it's a very potent time. You know, you might feel this new moon to you might feel more like a full moon. Full moons oftentimes are a bit heavier and represent endings and healing and letting go and things like that. And you might find yourself doing some of that right now during the new moon. The new moon might not feel quite as expansive and like light as they can sometimes. However, why I'm making this video is because I want to say that it's there. That light expansiveness is there. It's just underneath a lot of other stuff right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in the collective, a lot of collective fear, and also to the collective's defense, it's a potent astrology right now, and you might have your own stuff coming up, your own fears, your own shadow sort of aspects are bubbling up to the surface and becoming present in your thinking and your behavior and your energy body and how you feel, the way you're reacting to situations. And it's kind of like an intense time. And like a lot of things, if you zoom in and take stock at this sort of face value, it can seem rather bleak. It can seem like just another full moon. But again, underneath that is positivity. It's opportunity. It's the seeds of a new beginning, a new journey. One that is going to bring a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, a lot of creative expansion, a lot of personal freedom, personal empowerment. These are two sides of the same coin, basically. But anyway, I'm kind of getting a little bit too far ahead of myself. I'm going to organize my thoughts here for you as well and break this down into 3 more distinct themes. And my intention is that in hearing these themes, you'll be able to do what most people aren't doing, which is to kind of seize the day, to take advantage. These times of transformation, they have so many like hidden fruits that many fail to see because they're caught up in the drama and stuff like that. And my goal for you is to kind of like tap into your soul's wisdom and ride this phase out with intention and with grounding and let these energies and changes and healings and so forth take you where they want to take you. That's the whole thing here. It's like we are being like asked to start living our life more representative to who we really are and have grown into and what our true preferences are. And that's good. That's a really, really good outcome, which is my intention for you, my friend, for seeing the information in this video. Number 1, there's a lot of collective fear right now. You can feel it, you can see it in like the market, you can see it in people, and it's not even if you're not looking at it like out there and being online or anything, it's like you could feel it. I remember the very first day the whole world shut down. I remember like going outside and being like almost surprised because of how like dense and sort of like disorienting the collective energy felt. And I'm not one that's like always feeling the collective energy, but it was like very palpable that day. And then you go into a grocery store, you go out, and then it like smacks you in the face. Kind of feel that right now a little bit, to a bit of a lesser degree, and for maybe other reasons. But nonetheless, it's a time of upheaval. It's a time of change. Business as usual. All these old systems, they're not working, they're not helping anybody, they're not put together on a foundation of enlightenment and higher consciousness and creating like win-wins for everybody. It's kind of like almost we're living in a world with a whole bunch of systems that are sort of have been built from like ego and self-interest and things like that. And there's these waves of energy that are kind of like amplified during the astrology high points like new moons and full moons. They're kind of like amplifying like a positive energy positive, uplifting energy that's promoting, again, enlightenment and awakening and, expansion and love and truth and all justice, all these like great things. And what we're feeling is like the clashing, the clashing of the old world and the new vibes, basically. So when it happens, it like stirs everything up. It stirs up the snow globe, and it can make it feel like things are not looking too good out there. I don't know. Intuitively I sense good things are coming, but I can't help but look around and wonder if I'm just deluding myself. But it's like a temporary illusion. And also, it's not just the collective. Let's not put ourselves on a high horse. It's also you. It's also me. We're not above it. We're not just in our own little bubble here. No, we're going through it. I'm going through it. I'm having my own stuff kicked up, my own challenges, my own growing pains. Changes are being kind of thrust at me, whether I like them or not. And even though I sense they're for my highest good, it's still scary at the time of the receiving of them. So I just want to bring this to light because what I've learned is that, for one, it doesn't do you any good to get sucked up in that type of frenetic fear energy. It doesn't help anybody. And I see so many people doing it, honestly. And I've also learned that when that happens, you can, it's a time of transformation. It's a time of awareness. A lot of times this upheaval, outer or even inner, or even in your own little reality bubble, it's necessary. Because if it wasn't like in your face, you may have continued to kind of coast and remain where it's comfortable, predictable, but dull, boring, decaying. It's not why we're here. We came here to grow. We didn't come here to find a safe little corner and then ride out this lifetime and then go back to the ethers. We came here to like experience it. And left up to us and our ego, we're not going to do that. We're going to stay where it's safe and comfortable. So luckily, there are other forces at play, and that's what you might be feeling is like change and movement and, not being allowed to stay where it's comfortable in your own life. At least it can seem like the universe is trying to take you increasingly outside the confines of your comfort zone. And as that happens, combined with the collective energy and the collective fear, it creates a lot of your own personal upheaval, which is also beneficial. Again, whatever's coming up for you, whatever feelings you have, they've been there stuck in your nervous system, controlling your thinking, controlling your lives, limiting what you're truly capable of. And now you're like forced to deal with it, which, yeah, it's like, who wants to do that when it comes down to it? But it's a good thing because it's an opportunity to heal, to let go, to expand, liberation. And that's there. It's ripe right now for that. You're ripe for a transformation right now. Within this, where many sort of like wait it out and freak out, you can like go inward and like courageously face whatever's coming up for you. Like, what is this? Where is this coming from? In this energy, you can see it differently because it's more present. It's like more in your face. You can kind of like finally maybe see it for the first time and have some closure, have some some insights and bring it to like a conclusion. And in this sort of crazy energy, you can literally, I found anyway, you can like resolve like issues of the soul, I would say. Like long held patterns and unresolved energies and so forth that are like we carry into this life, this incarnation. It's like it becomes where you can like get in there and have these like this like soul cleanse basically. So I recommend, long story short, stay out of the TikTok and then the news and go within yourself. You'll find that you have a lot about, again, healing opportunity. And if you can like have that courage to face yourself, you can move through this phase gracefully and come out the other side as a completely different version of yourself. Number two, a bit more specifically, you might find old chapters closing or like slamming shut maybe, and new ones beginning to open as these other like books close. It's hard. It's hard. You know, this reminds me always of a story I always talk about, and I'll do it again. It's when I closed down my personal training gym. It was something that was so dear to me, so familiar to me. It was my career, it was my identity. And then for a while, I could kind of sense that it was like, it felt out of alignment. It wasn't doing it for me anymore. It was starting to kind of stress me out, requiring a lot more force and energy to kind of like keep it going. And eventually these moons, they would come in and kind of like amplify everything. And there came a point where I realized that hanging on was just not going to work. It was like impossible. I didn't have the physical energy to do it. And at that point I had like no choice but to say, you know what? God, universe, you got me, basically. What's next? I'll do it. And I closed the gym down. I sold all my equipment, letting go of an identity that I had as long as I can remember, the fitness guy, and sort of walking blindly into the darkness, wondering what life had in store for me. And I make it sound kind of like heroic, but really I went kicking and screaming, and it was quite difficult and brought up all of my insecurities, all of my issues, all of my even primal biological like survival type of fears, you know, because to let go of an identity, to let go of a sense of security, whether for you it's like a relationship or a career or something else, some part of you that like you've been leaning on, when you finally like are forced to or willing, regardless, when you let it go, you feel like you're kind of like, you know, like you're walking for the first time. It's very scary. It's not something that's like just in your head. It's like there's a very deep sort of existential type of crisis you can sometimes go through that a lot of people I think underplay and judge themselves, thinking they're being weak or they're being like a baby about it or overly emotional or overreacting. But it's a real thing, especially when you're really in touch with your feelings. It's a very, very, very challenging thing to do, and yet you might find yourself like having no choice. Like you might, the new moon can bring something to a head to where you're like, I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. And if you can finally like admit defeat, which isn't defeat, it's like if you can just stop fighting the inevitable, stop fighting against life and just say like, you know what? I'm going to surrender. I'm going to surrender to the flow of my life. Apparently it wants to take me somewhere. Let's see where that is. And you might find like almost immediately in that surrender, then you can kind of get an idea of where the universe has been trying to take you. And then you might, if you're honest with yourself, what it is, you'll say, oh, I like that better. This is up my alley, but I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know if I'm enough. And you can be kind of like, part of you wants it. A part of you feels like it's not practical or realistic for you. Imagine me. I let go of this gym when I had, I don't know, hundreds of, maybe a few hundred YouTube subscribers. And that was like my big like message, like close this chapter and really go all in with YouTube. That was like for me about a while back. And I didn't have the proof yet. I didn't have the evidence. I didn't have any logical reason to assume it was going to work out for me, basically. But I felt, again, kind of forced into it somehow by like what Carl Jung calls his second self. It's like this your soul, basically. It's like, no, we play by our own rules. You're going this way. And I did, and here I am, 300,000 subscribers later. You know, I've lived a lifetime of experiences from then and now that I'm so grateful for, that I would have missed if I had my way, which was to cling to what I knew and what made me feel safe and familiar. I would have missed out. We wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be watching this video right now. And it's a real shame when people do that. But right now it's like you can't really fight the flow anymore. But if you can allow yourself and allow to let go and allow these chapters to close, knowing that the nature of nature, creation, it's like an interchanging of death and rebirth, like constantly, over and over and over and over and over again. So why would this be different for you, this chapter closing? Why would it not bring about a new chapter? It always does. We forget that, though, when things are closing. We're like, no, I'm not ready. It's a time to surrender and believe in yourself. And sort of march forth confidently into whatever it is you've been resisting. And actually, now that I mention it, ask yourself, do you even agree with these outdated old apprehensions? I'm not enough, I'm not worthy. Do you actually believe that? Can you look me straight in the eye and say you don't know you are worthy? You don't know you are capable? You don't know that even if there are challenges that you'll figure it out, you'll find a way? Can you really look at me and say that? I bet you can't. But many of us sort of just passively allow these like parts of our mind to just sort of run away and gain momentum. And then it's like, we just kind of like let our lower self take over sometimes. And it's hard not to. But there's a time where you can like wake up to your power and like almost wake up to like who you become and begin to question these old fears, these old anxieties. You know, right now I'm running this challenge where I'm trying to encourage coaches to like become a coach. And there's always a million and one reasons not to do that. Someone came on and he's a really cool guy. He said, I'm just too young. I was like, okay, that's one way of looking at it. But from my perspective, is being young is kind of unique. You have the ability to reach younger people in a way that I can't. I'm an old fart compared to some of these like teenagers that are not going to listen to me, but they might listen to you. So it's like, it's your mindset. If you have enough, trust me, if you can use your creativity to really make a believable case as to why you can't do something, desperately, almost like finding evidence from your past to support it, which is what the fearful mind does, use that, even an ounce of that creativity to ask yourself, how might I do this? How might I do this? Maybe my youth is a benefit. Maybe I can reach younger people in a way that older people can't. Maybe I'm an old soul and I'm not as freaking conditioned as these older people. Maybe I'm more tapped in to my higher self, which a lot of these young people are, as an example. That's a way different way of thinking. Maybe I have so much time. Why would I assume I can't become a coach when I'm 18 years old? I got nothing but time, baby. I'm living with mom and dad. I got all this time to study and to exercise and to meditate and to freaking go for it. You know, time's running out for me, but like these young people, it's like you got the world by the horns. And then you have the people who are I'm too old. That tells me you are wiser than I am. You've lived longer. I would be more likely to listen to you for another reason because you're older. So it's how are you using your mind during this time of transformation? It can work really, really, really against you. And you're seeing that in the collective. You're seeing that with everyday people. Or if you learn how to flip the script, you can use it for you. There's an equal amount of energy right here. And you can let the negative part of you take over, or you can say, no, that's not me. This is who I am. This is who I choose to be in this moment. And you stand firm in who you know yourself to be on a soul level, and then start thinking about your future. It's a very different train of thinking, much more expansive, much more hopeful. You have more confidence. Both are available right now. And finally, number 3, what many people fail to see is during these times, your divine guidance is at an all-time high. Your spirit guides, your spirit animals and their friends, all the creatures of the forest, the gnomes, they're just waiting. Please call on us. We're here. We're looking right at you. You can perceive us. But they're going to leave you alone if you don't bother to ask. Whatever that is. Maybe you think that's crazy what I just said. Maybe you ask God. Maybe you pray to Jesus. You get out your cross and you read the Bible. Whatever it is. It's all real in my opinion, in my experience. It's all there. You know, I always love, I'm a huge fan of Carl Jung, and he looks at all this stuff as like just as real as anything else. The archetypal realms, all these different aspects of the collective unconsciousness, all the infinite expressions of the divine, whether it's the angels or whatever. It's like all of that, to him, it was always just as real as anything else. And the more you like call upon it, the more real it becomes and the more you have your own validation. Carl Jung, in fact, when he was older, he was once asked, he's like, someone asked him, do you believe in God? And he says, yes, I know God is real. I know for myself. And the way he like said it, the way he like looked at you, it's like you knew this guy, he was being honest. You saw it in his eyes, this like knowingness, his faith. And that can come, that's available too. Just as this darkness is kind of like obscuring everything right now because it's like constantly being kicked up by the energies, parallel to that, there's this whole other dimension of reality, this divinity that is also more obvious. But it's not gonna come to you in the ways your mind would like. If you're trying to find certainty out there, waiting for finally a positive news headline to make you feel safe, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna happen when you tune into yourself. And you'll find that during these times of great transition, which I know many of you are in, your guidance can lead you every step of the way. That's what happened with me. I've made many leaps, and I'm going on a new one right now. Maybe I'll talk about it in another video, but I'm being asked to do it again for like the countless times, the 50th freaking time it seems like. Just when I'm comfortable, everything kind of breaks down. It's time to like do something different. But I've learned that as like hard as it is to believe sometimes, there is a guiding force that if you choose to like believe in it, it can tell you where to go. It can tell you how to roll. It can tell you when to do what. And it can lead you to opportunities. It can lead you to insights. It can guide you if you let it. And right now, the veil is thin, as people like to say, and it is. And you have access to all this. But it's like we're also being asked to empower ourselves. It's time to really like for example, when I'm feeling like, I don't do this, by the way, perfectly. I have my moments where I'm like, ugh, you know? And once in a while, I'll flip through tarot cards and I'm like, what's gonna happen? You know, and I'll get the Fool card, I'll get the Source card, which is kind of like saying, bro, quit being a child. Don't ask mommy for like advice. Like, know your power. And I'll say, okay, and I'll like put them away, get in the message, and I'll just tune into myself. And I bet if you gave yourself like 5 minutes of silence, I challenge you to 5 minutes of silence. I bet you can sort out half the stuff that you've been thinking about for like days from a wise, clear place. If you can get quiet, the guidance can come in. The guidance can help you. It will help you. So with that said, my friends, thank you for watching. Have an amazing new moon. Peace.